Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Radhanata Radha Radhanata Radhe Jaya Radha Radhanata Radha Radhana Radhe Jaya Radha Radhanata Radha Radhanata Radhe Jaya Radha Radhanata Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Nittai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Oh Hari Bol Nittai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaur Hari Their Lordship Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai, Srimad Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ginanjana Salakaya Chakchurun Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhlistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Tadati Swapandantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna, good morning and welcome to the Saturday morning discourse or rather discussion on Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrita. And I pray for the blessings of the Vaishnavas, that I could speak something that's pleasing to the Acharyas and to Srila Prabhupada. We are reading this morning from the Transcendental Diary, Volume 4, Chapter 5, and this is the authorized biography by Satsvarup Das Goswami, and it is set in Sri Vrindavan Dham. What an auspicious place. We are reading about Srila Prabhupada's pastimes there on the 4th of September 1976. So it's an absolute honor when we speak about Srila Prabhupada, because everything in this Hare Krishna movement is centered around the founder Acharya of this. And Srila Prabhupada here, he actually explains very nicely about the bona fide, authorized spiritual master. So here, September 4th, 1976. Prabhupada decided not to go out for a walk this morning, but he did go for darshan of the deities. After receiving Guru Puja, he gave a class. Although the verse was Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.5, he spoke equally as long on verse 6, which describes how Srila Vyasadeva saw the illusion of the conditioned souls and thus compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam to help them. Srila Prabhupada analyzed our entanglement in Maya at length and then described his own role as the representative of Vyasadeva in presenting the Bhagavatam to help us to mitigate the miseries in our life. We should study very carefully, and we have tried to give each and every word's meaning and the translation and purport, consulting all the big acharyas. Acharya Van Purusho Veda. One who is following the steps of the acharya, he knows everything. So that is explained everywhere. Evam parampara pratpam, by the acharyas. We don't create any meaning. Acharya one has to accept a bona fide spiritual master and take knowledge from him. Vidvan means who is following Vidvan. I have given this example many times, that I may be a fool, but if I have learned from a person that this is called microphone, so a child, if he says this is microphone, that is correct. Because the child is fool when he says this is microphone, that is not foolish, because he has heard it from the authorities, from his father or his teacher, that this is called microphone. Similarly, Acharya Van Puruso Veda, anyone who is following Acharya, whatever he says, it is correct, because he does not manufacture. He says what he has heard from the Acharyas, exactly like a child. So that this is the position of Guru. Guru is respected as good as God. Why? Only for this qualification, that he does not speak anything nonsense. He speaks only what he has heard from the Acharya. Acharya Van Puruso Veda. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said Acharya Van Parushanam. So, Vyasadeva is our Acharya. Therefore, we offer Vyasa Puja. On the birthday of Guru, we offer Vyasa Puja. Actually, it is not directly Vyasa, but because the bona fide Guru represents Vyasadeva, his puja is also Vyasa Puja. Mad Bhakta Puja Abhidyaki. To worship Vyasadeva, worship the bona fide spiritual master, and worship the Lord. They are the same. Radha Krishna says that if you worship his bona fide representative, that worship is better than directly worshipping. Directly, it is not possible to worship the Supreme Lord. One has to go through the acharyas. Therefore, Vyasadeva is the original acharya. Lokasya janatu vidsvam karache satvata. He is Vidvan. So we have explained many times how to become Vidwan. Vidwan does not mean one has to become a big Brahminian logician. No, Vidwan means one who follows the previous Acharya, who is representative of Krishna. He is Vidwan. So very interesting here, Srila Prabhupada explains the Acharya. Who is the Acharya? And he goes on to say that this is the bona fide, and he emphasizes that there's no dilution when there's presenting of these words from Vyasadeva. Actually, he speaks here, Srila Prabhupada speaks so intensely about the role of the spiritual master. He even explains at the beginning, why is there the Srimad Bhagavatam? Because Srila Vyasadeva saw the illusion of the conditioned souls. So the Srimad Bhagavatam has come about. Srila Prabhupada even states here that the purport of every verse that he has translated, even the transliteration, the word for word translation, it is coming directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Undiluted. It is very, very clear and direct that this bona fide spiritual master is a representative of Srila Vyasadeva, and only is he able to be an authorized representative of the Vedas. So it goes on. Later in the morning, Harikesh Swami and I sat with Srila Prabhupada in his darshan room. He was discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 3:25-21. Harikesh read it out aloud. Titishva karunika sudra sarva dehinam ajata satrava santa sadvadha sadhu bhushansha. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. Prabhupada smiled in satisfaction. This is sadhu. This, not the dress. Then he and Harikesh read out his lengthy purport. Towards the end of it, Prabhupada interrupted him. We could hear loud banging and hammering coming from this vicinity of the guest house. And Prabhupada asked, what is going on? We explained that some alterations were being made to the front lounge area to facilitate the preaching. And this is very interesting, what Prabhupada is going to be telling them about doing alterations. Prabhupada wasn't impressed and complained that our propensity to always change things. They manufacture ideas and spend money. This is the difficulty. Everyone manufactures some idea and break it, do it again, dig it. Money is coming and they are spending it. They cannot adjust whatever there is. Big, big ideas, big, big belly. And money we have to bring from America. Give me 1 lakh, give me 1,50,000. I make idea and you pay. So many rooms you can make showroom. Why breaking this door, breaking that door? Too many cooks spoils the broth. And repairing and what is it called? Addition, alteration will never stop. I do not know how to stop it. He started to laugh. Now yesterday that Bishan Chandra said, suggesting there should be rack 3 feet high, 7 feet high, this high, everyone will suggest and spend money. Any friend you bring, he'll suggest, so you may spend it. And where from money will come? Oh, that is you look after. I am your friend. I am giving you good suggestion. Break it, do it. I am your friend. You break your head. His smile broadened as he told us a story. There was a Mohammedan king, Nizamuddin. Nizamuddin, there is a tomb in Delhi. He was a poet. So if some friends came, he would read some writing and he will suggest, and the friend will suggest, why don't you make like this? Oh, it is good. All right, he'll do it, whatever he says. And when he goes away, then again makes his own. So the secretary said, why are you changing? So we have to do that. As soon as you call anybody, he'll give you some suggestion, make this alteration, make that alteration. Prabhupada shook his head with good humor, resignation, and resumed our discussion on Bhagavatam. So here Srila Prabhupada was very clever because he always had his checks and balances when it came to finance. Never whimsically so. So today we know of, when we do alterations, 3 quotes, right? Get 3 quotes, check which one's the cheapest, let's match apple to apple. Back in the day, was there ever such thing? But Prabhupada was always very steady when it came to spending Krishna's money. He also acknowledged that this money that was coming in, he had to collect, and from where? From the West. So when we look at that and when we show this appreciation to the devotees in America, because ISKCON really stemmed, where did it stem? It stemmed from America. So Prabhupada used to collect from there, and what happens here is he's kind of chastising them to say, now there's banging, again you're breaking down something, then you're going to build, then you're going to get one contractor come in, he's going to suggest X, Y, and Z. Yes, very nice, let's do it. But as we know, when these people come in, what are they? Do they really have good intention? So Prabhupada here gives this example to say, agree with them, fine, good idea. But when they go, use your intelligence and do the right thing. You do not have to always just spend money whimsically. We see that so often when Srila Prabhupada gives temple management instruction when it comes to spending. And that's such an important point here, because he's giving a practical example here. He's making light of it, but actually this is something that we all, even in our own homes now, we have to be mindful of. So Srila Prabhupada goes on, as we say here, to going on back to the Bhagavatam. So description of sadhu is there, it is very nice. Where they will find this description? All over the world. Complimenting Prabhupada, Harikesh said, I think there's only one person who's following that description. So he's alluding to that description of sadhu. There's only one person who's following it, and he's alluding to that being Srila Prabhupada. But Prabhupada had a different mood. He humbly appreciated the words of Shastra. No, I say about Bhagavat's description. How perfect is it in every subject matter. He provided a revealing insight into the source of his own words in the purport. I have tried to explain that there is what there is in Bhagavatam, expand it. That is not my explanation. That is Krishna's explanation. I cannot explain now. At that moment I could explain that means Krishna's. I can understand that the description is very nicely given. Although it is my writing, but I know it is not my writing. It is Krishna's writing. So we should read Bhagavatam always. Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. We should not waste our time. This was not the first time that Prabhupada said that when he writes, he is simply acting as a mouthpiece for Krishna. His words and humility today merely emphasized his role as the transparent via media between us and Krishna, and gave us another glimpse into the intimacy of his relationship with the Lord. And we find here, this is so powerful, because Srila Prabhupada here explains directly. He says it directly. This is not my words. This is Krishna's words. And he says, I wrote it at that time, but if you ask me now, I can't go back because that came directly from Krishna. Another very, very powerful word here is simply acting as a mouthpiece for Krishna. Now, as we know, we could actually be somewhere representing somebody in a meeting or having a discussion and as a representative of somebody. You could say it and say, no, I'm here representing, this is a thought, that's our discussion, and so on. But do you have that conviction of the person you are representing? Are you 100% sure that you are representing powerfully the same thing? Srila Prabhupada here is 100% sure. There is no dilution. He is not shaky about it. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. He says, this is the mouthpiece. I am the mouthpiece of Krishna. Whatever I am saying these are Krishna's words, it's not mine. Another very clear distinction here is that Prabhupada is not taking credit for anything. He's saying, I am merely saying what Srila Vyasadeva is saying, what's there. And this is the importance of the Bhagavatam. Their lordships, Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And it comes back here to he gives us a glimpse of the intimacy of his relationship with the Lord, coming back to understanding how Krishna came to him in the Jaladuta when he was unwell. Srila Prabhupada was unwell, but Krishna healed him so well. And it's powerful revelation that the sadhu represents Srila Vyasadeva. And again, we have to be so wary about bona fide, those acharyas of the world. We see them more and more now. These acharyas that represent, oh yes, this is my interpretation. It's what I believe is said. But actually here Srila Prabhupada says, there is no my interpretation. This is the words directly from the Supreme Lord. I am writing what Krishna has said. With no visitors, so we go back, with no visitors in the morning, Harikesh Maharaj took the opportunity to present some challenges to our preaching in the West. He wanted Prabhupada to knock them down. He began by trying to say that the worship of Krishna was simply a foreign idea imported from India. Prabhupada's reply was brilliant. With a laugh, he said, no, now you cannot say only Indians worship Krishna. Whole world, that is God. They are not fools and rascals. They are educated. They are civilized. Why they accept Krishna as God? Today, I was telling Charanara Vindam that the Englishmen were ruling over us. Now here is English boy. He is giving me massage and fanning me. What is the reason? Unless he feels something obligation that he has given us Krishna. What business he has got? Not for him, for all of you, to give so valuable free service unless there is the sense. What do you think? You have no obligation. You are European, American, I am Indian. It is through this via media Krishna. It is practical. Therefore Krishna is God. Yad lam vidha charam labham manyate nadhikam tata. Because they have got sense that we have got God, therefore they are feeling so much obliged. Krishna is God, there is no doubt about it. So we shall follow strictly. Here is God, take. Because if you are serious after God, here is God, take Krishna. This is our philosophy. What is the answer? If he's serious about God, here is God. I think this paper wrote that, so what is the answer? If he's serious about God, I think this paper wrote that the Village Voice, they told first that we thought God is dead, and actually they were dancing in the name of God. Achyutananda and Brahmananda, you see the picture, you have seen the picture showing we thought God is dead. So it's very interesting because Srila Prabhupada here, he refers to there's a question posed to him that Krishna is only for the Indians. And he refers to this, I've actually found it, the Village Voice. It was a newspaper publication. So this is what it was, right? Back in the day, the Village Voice. And Srila Prabhupada, we see here, he talks so much about the media that they received in the US. He goes on and he speaks here about how this Village Voice gave them recognition. First, the Village Voice thought that they thought God was dead. But eventually they presented a picture to show how Srila Prabhupada was preaching to people. So Prabhupada goes on here. Sitting on Prabhupada's desk was a new French BTG with an article by Hayagriva describing his first meeting with Srila Prabhupada in New York. The editor, Yogeshwar Prabhu, had included in the magazine a photo of Srila Prabhupada sitting in Thompson Square Park, playing a tom-tom drum while Brahmananda and Achyutananda danced. That was the first time any of Prabhupada's students had got up and danced during his kirtan. The photo reminded Srila Prabhupada of the Village Voice article that had appeared in New York in the fall of 1966. So that's the article, in the fall of 1966. In it, the reporter had shown a photo of Srila Prabhupada sitting under a tree, preaching to an interested crowd of onlookers. The reporter had credited Srila Prabhupada with showing his skeptical audience that God was not dead, but he was alive and well and living in a storefront in 2nd Avenue. So this article eventually said, no, God is not dead. He is alive. He is well. And he is in a storefront on 2nd Avenue. Prabhupada was thrilled about it because it brought to the fore that the Supreme Being. And what happened is alive. And what happened is that they were even acknowledged where he's living. So this was the power of what Prabhupada was doing in the West. So therefore he trashed that question about, is Krishna just for the Indians? He says, well, if the Village Voice is giving us a full-page article to say that God is living in 26 2nd Avenue, what to speak about us questioning it? So Harikesh Maharaj marveled at the photo. I didn't know that was Achyutananda. I recognized Hayagriva, but that's not Hayagriva. I said, it is Brahmananda. That's not Hayagriva. In the picture, Brahmananda and Achyutananda were dancing, and Prabhupada playing on the tabla, and Kirtananda is sitting down in the corner. Boy, was he skinny in those days, Harikesh grinned. This is Brahmananda, and this is Kirtananda Swami sitting down. Prabhupada looked over the photo, Kirtananda sitting there. Yes, he sat next to you. He shaved up, I said. This was published in the New York Times, and the New York Times was the biggest newspaper, right? And this is in the West, in America. Prabhupada told us the other picture was published in the Village Voice. Yes, big picture, 1 page. They felt something, otherwise they should publish. Appeal to them, that is God. This is a really historic picture, Harikesh appreciated. Prabhupada tipped his head. Underneath the tree, I was sitting and speaking, that's all. And when I could come back from the park to my apartment, at least 24 people will come with me. And I think it was Ekadashi on Wednesday, and Swarup Damodar Prabhu was speaking about Thompson Square Park, about this particular tree. And yes, it's there. And I've been fortunate enough to see the tree, and it does have that plaque, that commemorative plaque to say Hare Krishna tree. So it was one Sunday, and I had ventured out on my own, right? And I think just got into an Uber and went Thompson Square Park, and I got there, it was dull, it was rainy, and I was looking for this tree. And I asked people, and I think I went to the wrong tree that day. But I was so happy to just be there. I never saw the plaque that day. But I said, Hare Krishna tree. And yeah, so there's one pointed me this way, one pointed, but I think I went to the wrong tree. But I was lucky enough a few days later, before I was leaving, heading back, it was Rukmini Devi, Srila Prabhupada's disciple. And she said, have you been? And I said, I have been. But I don't think I went to the tree, but I went to the park. So she says, no, you're not going back home without me taking you to the tree. So I think it was Krishna's arrangement, or Prabhupada's arrangement, that I had Srila Prabhupada's disciple take me there. And that's when I saw, okay, there is this flux. I was definitely at the wrong place, but I was in the vicinity. So we took darshan of the tree. Very, very interestingly, Rukmini Devi met a girl at this particular tree. She was sitting there, young teenage girl, and she was sitting there with a notepad and a book. And she was just writing. And Rukmini Devi went to her and spoke to her, and this girl told her that she felt such a connection to this tree. She lived a few blocks away, and she says every 2 days she walks through the city of New York and come to this tree, sit there and journal. And she had no idea that Bhakti Center was close by to Thompson Square Park. It was walking distance. So Rukmini Devi invited her to the Sunday Love Feast programs. I think they exchanged numbers. And when we were heading back, it was Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Rukmini, who said to me that she is so sure that this girl had some connection to Srila Prabhupada. And this was the power of that tree that Srila Prabhupada talks about here. And also something that's very interesting that comes about is that Srila Prabhupada says, what did he do there? And this is the article here from the New York Times that Prabhupada says it's a whole page that they gave them. New York Times. What a big one. And what's the title? I found this so interesting. Swami's flock chants in park to find ecstasy. And they're playing on the word ecstasy, right? Because remember back in the day, and here I love this. It says, drugs are replaced. That is the subheading. And this is New York Times. And Srila Prabhupada says here at the end of the article, the article says, the Swami, whose title is equivalent to the Reverend, conducts chanting and gives lectures at his International Society for Krishna Consciousness, a storefront at 26 2nd Avenue between 1st and 2nd Streets on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. and every morning at 7 a.m. And he has scheduled another session in the park at 7th Street on the 2nd Avenue. His followers were said to include a lawyer, a mathematics professor, and several teachers and social workers, as well as full-time devotees. So what credibility that New York Times has given Srila Prabhupada. They even published the details of the storefront and the times that Prabhupada gives his classes. And let me tell you, to get free publicity like that is very special. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that, and that play on the word ecstasy was just super powerful. And it says, drugs are replaced. It was another pleasant reminiscence on the significant events in the beginning of Srila Prabhupada's preaching in the West. There's another photo of him playing a tom-tom that appears in the new French Srimad Bhagavatam, which was placed on a wall shelf here in his room. Prabhupada likes that photo so much that last night he suggested to me that Charanara Vindam, that if an artist was available, he would like to have it printed. This morning, Srila Prabhupada received a typed and edited manuscript of the Bhavan's journal, Questions from Pushta Krishna Swami. It was so near the deadline for the publication that it was not certain whether Bhavans will be able to use it. Srila Prabhupada had Harikesh Swami read everything back to him, and he added a few more comments, especially to his reply to the second question, which asks if a man can change his destiny by progress. He emphasized that destiny cannot be changed, giving the example that a pig must eat stool, and scientists cannot change this by so-called progress. There seems to be a major, and then we go on, there seems to be a major problem with Nitai Das, Prabhupada's former servant. This is very interesting as well. He was supposed to be helping to establish the Gurukul here as well as the deity worship, but he was not been since visiting Prabhupada in Bombay 2 weeks ago. Rupa Vilas Das, who was here about 6 months, is heading up the Gurukul, came to see Prabhupada in the evening to discuss what to do. Srila Prabhupada questioned Rupa Vilas about Nitai's propensities. His approach was that if Nitai was not happy in his service, then that could be adjusted to something he liked to do. Rupa Vilas said that Nitai was a good scholar. He liked to study languages and to write, but he was not an effective preacher. Prabhupada asked if he had written anything, and when Rupa Vilas said he had done some Back to Godhead articles, Prabhupada asked, so why does he not write? If he has got a taste for something particular, he can do that. But nobody knows where he is. He shook his head with disapproval and disappointment. He is not fixed up. He wanted to take charge of the deity worship, then he went away. It was mentioned by Gopal Krishna and Harikesh Maharaj that he left with 4,000 rupees and was said to be living in Radha Kund. Prabhupada was a little disgusted. Just see. One of the devotees added, one boy came from Bombay and he told me, Nitai said, if I leave, I have to go. Prabhupada shook his head. Then he's at Radha Kund. He has taken 4,000 rupees and gone to Radha Kund. This is his taste. Sit idly and become famous as a very good scholar. Rupa Vilas said that Nitai did not attend many classes, not even teach often. And here again, Srila Prabhupada speaks very firmly about that 4,000 rupees, about being firm and fixed in your devotional service, right? And Prabhupada, it goes on. Prabhupada curled his lips with a little dissatisfaction. Restless, that's all. Mind not fixed up. Restless. Now, what he'll do with the 4,000 rupees? It's a very good program. If I get some thousands of rupees and sit down in Radha Kund and eat, that is very good idea. Gopal Krishna said he thought they could find him. Prabhupada, however, said it wasn't a question of finding him. That is not difficult. But what is his mentality? Why he has gone to Radha Kund if he is teaching here? You cannot rely upon him. Prabhupada paused for a second and then said, Radharani's place. If anyone thinks that it is very easy to remain in Radha Kund, the topmost place, Rupa Goswami has spoken. He must speak about Radha Kund. But what he has spoken about, other things. And so Radha Kund, who will live in Radha Kund? One who is topmost devotee. And if he mixes with third-class devotees, how he is fit for living in Radha Kund. And Srila Prabhupada here describes the divinity of Radha Kund being the topmost place in this world. And how will a third-class devotee mix with a first-class devotee who lives there? There is no difference between Radha Kund and Radharani. So how can you jump over Radharani? Radha Kund and Radharani, non-different. How can you enjoy Radha Kund? By swimming. You cannot touch your feet, even Radha Kund. You can take little water and keep it on your head. That is respectful to Radha Kund. Of course, things like are going on like that. But strictly speaking, Radha Kund should be respected as Radharani herself. That is Radha Kund consciousness, the highest Radha Kund consciousness. And if you want to live in Radha Kund, then why has he taken 4,000 rupees from Giriraj? Again, Prabhupada is very disturbed by this Nitai. And he goes on here, Prabhupada's practical has always said, why should he take the responsibility for purchasing if he's interested in Radha Kund? Gopal added that Nitai had also received a few $100s recently from his wife in America. Prabhupada's focus wasn't much about the money Nitai had, but was concerned about his consciousness. That's all right. Money is not strength, and this is very, 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 very apt for the day and age especially that we are living in. Prabhupada says that is all right. Money is not the strength for understanding Radharani. If you have got some money, by the strength of money, you'll understand Radharani. That is another bogus thing. And here, we say money makes the world go round. That adage, money makes the world go round. Prabhupada says it's a bogus thing. That cannot give you the taste for love of Godhead. That cannot take you to Radharani. So you could have, he literally, just loosely put here, he could have that 4,000 rupees. He could go. How far would he take him? He's a third-class devotee attempting to live in Radha Kund. For us, the example that we could look at is sometimes that, yes, money is important for our day-to-day lives and our preaching and our service, but it should not be the focus of our lives, because it's not going to give us Radharani. And Prabhupada says if money is the focus, he says it clearly here, that is another bogus thing. Remember, Prabhupada starts the day with speaking about the Acharya, with speaking about the bona fide spiritual master. And throughout the day, he goes on with this reflection about not being bogus. Money to get to the Supreme Personality is not on. You have to follow what is prescribed in the Vedic scripture. His voice became stern. All of them are my disciples. They have accepted me as my spiritual master, and they should follow me as I am doing. We accept a guru, we should accept his order. Why he is going here and there? Why is he meeting big gosais? So Prabhupada here, he says, and he gives an instruction to say, if they are my disciples, they follow me. This is a clear instruction that Srila Prabhupada is giving, that the sincerity of the disciple is to follow the spiritual master. And they go on here. Bhagatji said that Nitai had taken money from Bombay to buy books, but no one really knew where he was. The Vrindavan devotees thought that he was in Bombay, and the Bombay devotees thought he was in Vrindavan. Meanwhile, he was gone to meet these big gosais. So where are the books, Prabhupada asked? Gopal said Giriraj was asking the same question. So Prabhupada shook his head. Just see, the man who paid him, he was inquiring, where are the books? And Prabhupada went on here to speak about Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada said that Lord Chaitanya had rejected Mukunda and he's a classmate of his for going here and there to hear from non-devotee scholars. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like this type of person. He said that Kada Jati Bheta, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this title for the type of person. Kada Jatiya Bheta. What is that? It means, they asked Srila Prabhupada, Kada Jatiya Bheta is an address. It means one who is rejected, Prabhupada told him. Someone mentioned Nitai had learned to write Bengali script, and Prabhupada also was very heavy about that. But Prabhupada was not impressed. He has learned Bengali, but he cannot speak Bengali. What has he learned? What can he read? If he can read, then he can speak. Writing, reading, and speaking, then perfection comes. You say he can simply write. Only one person can read. He can speak well, then others can hear. Whatever we read, another person can hear. If he cannot read, speak, then how will he get the opportunity of hearing? And Prabhupada goes on here in terms of even leadership, but I want to go, we're almost concluding. This is a very nice end to the day, and it's a very sweet end to the day. So, Here we talk very quickly. Hansadutta Swami has been living in Vrindavan with his bus party for a couple of months now. And Prabhupada has been discussing the situation in Germany with him. He is not very happy with it, and today he asked Hansadutta to resume his duties as GBC there to help correct the problems. Prabhupada said he had to simultaneously conduct his bus preaching here in India. Again, Srila Prabhupada is juggling so much in his day. He's speaking about leadership, he's speaking about finances, he's speaking about acharyas, he's speaking about philosophy. And he's leading this movement at his ripe old age. And to conclude the day, this is the sweetest part of the day in September. Himavati Dasi, Hansadutta's former wife, is also here in Vrindavan, staying at Bhagatji's house. She, Bhagatji, a German devotee, Himrati Dasi, all came to see Srila Prabhupada in the evening to show him Himrati's newly born baby. Her husband, Atma Vidya Das, is driving from Germany. Their child, a girl, was born on Vyasa Puja, Srila Prabhupada's own birthday. Now listen, they asked Srila Prabhupada to name the baby. Laughing, Himavati eagerly came forward and placed the baby right on Prabhupada's lap. Prabhupada grinned as the baby began to squirm a little. "Oh, so small," he said, his eyes opening wider. Himavati leaned forward and gently rubbed the baby's head against Srila Prabhupada's foot. Himrati, on the other hand, was a bit nervous because the child wasn't wearing a diaper. Right? Imagine this is the Acharya who was so heavy throughout the day, and at the end of the day he's got this small little baby and the baby's not wearing a diaper. Can you imagine what happened next? Any guesses? How do we end Srila Prabhupada's day here? Okay, no, it's not that bad. Bhagachi was in his usual jovial mood. He informed Prabhupada that the child had a very similar horoscope of that of Prabhupada, and she was born at almost the same time. Prabhupada's birth time was approximately 4 p.m. and the baby was born at 4:51 p.m. Bhagatji then asked Srila Prabhupada to name the child. "Nandini," Prabhupada said without hesitation. Himrati hadn't heard the name before, so she asked what it meant. Prabhupada smiled and said, there was so much excitement around that day for Nanda Maharaj because it was the day after Krishna's appearance. Having little Nandini on his lap invoked recollections of his own childhood because for a few minutes, Prabhupada happily re-encountered some of his own pastimes. Among other things, he told us that as a boy, he really liked trains. How sweet was that? So that was how that day was concluded. And here he gave the name Nandini. And remember, this child was born on Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. We know that Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja is the day after Janmashtami. So he explained that he had given this name because Nanda Maharaj was so excited for Krishna's birth. So he gave that name Nandini. And very, very special here. So there's so many things, and I'm going to just quickly highlight it. 10 points. This is what Srila Prabhupada did, right? And I quickly just wrote down, I perhaps missed out some. On the 4th of September 1976, what did he do? Number 1, newspaper articles. He went and he referenced The Voice and New York Times. Number 2, he was discussing Vyasadeva and the importance of Vyasa Puja, the role of the spiritual master. Number 3, he spoke about the Bhagavatam purport and that he is giving this translation. It's not from him. It's the mouthpiece of Krishna directly. Number 4, he spoke about Nitai, personal, looking, it's easy to find the disciple, but his mind is not fixed. That's what he said, right? And there he pointed out that money cannot buy the pathway to Radha Kund. Literal, we may get there, but the offenses that we cause is a different story. He brought about the parallel between the first class and third class devotee. And all of this in conversation. Number 5, he was clearing up the idea of bogus gurus, right? And how we should understand that the Acharya is a bona fide representative of Srila Vyasadeva. Number 6, he also teaches us about Radha Kund being the topmost place in this world and who is qualified to live there. Number 7, as we said, money cannot buy that place at Radha Kund. Number 8, association had caused Nitai's downfall. Again, bringing about a very practical point, using an example that was brought to him about his own disciple Nitai. That example showing us again the importance of association in our own spiritual development and spiritual growth. Number 9, the GBC and leadership. Okay, Srila Prabhupada, even in his conversation, he says, okay, there's a problem in Germany. So Hansadutta, you've got to go back and be the GBC leader, but you cannot leave your current service. Concurrently, you've got to run your bus tour because that's going well. So Srila Prabhupada had his finger on the pulse in every aspect of this. And I forgot, now it's gone to number 11 as I'm speaking, but number 10 was he's chastised the devotees about finances, about alterations right at the beginning of the day. Why is this banging? Why are we doing whimsical things? Again, another practical example about that Mohammedan king, right? Who just changes things and whatever, but use your logic. Agree with the contractor who comes in. Again, Prabhupada's practical advice to these devotees. He also mentioned at that time that money is coming in from America and we can never forget that, right? All of these things are my collection from America. So many lakh rupees, so many lakh rupees. Do not spend whimsically. And number 11, the sweetest part for me of it all, he even named a baby in his day. How wonderful is our founder Acharya, right? How can an ordinary man do so much and be composed throughout it all? So this is just, you know, a simple example. And I quickly just jotted down. There's so much more that we could say. There's so much that Srila Prabhupada has practically taught us through everyday discussions. So we're so grateful to have this Transcendental Diary, this Leelamrita, and we should take advantage of it. It is ISKCON 60 this year. I cannot forget to say that. And 1966, 2026, the birth of ISKCON 60 years ago. And we should honor Srila Prabhupada in this way by celebrating ISKCON, and let's just grow this movement together. Use these practical, you know, Prabhupada for me, he was just so practical in what he taught. He was heavy, he was loving, he had the mood of the Acharya. And here at the end of the day, the baby without the diaper. Now come on. So he spoke so many things, and then the mother says, oops, oops, oops. She's thinking, this baby doesn't have the tongue. I would have been very interested to hear if something happens. How would Prabhupada have reacted, right? For me, that would have been an interesting tale as well. But also it ended off, he shared some of his childhood, and he said, as a little boy, he liked trains. So we could identify with Srila Prabhupada in so many ways. Please may I request any comments, thoughts, reflections, corrections. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you for being here this morning. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, their Lordship Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Srimad Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.